Ladies, can we have an honest conversation about insecurity? This is a name we've been called and we hate it, yet we continue to display behavior that looks like we don't feel secure. Some of us have begun to do things that is so outside our character that we are totally embarrassed, but we don't stop. Why? Because I think we've been taught by social media and the so called relationship gurus that if we watch him closely enough, if we check enough, if we ask enough questions, if we read enough text messages, if we compare stories, if we track his location, if we become investigators instead of wives, we'll finally feel safe. But have you noticed something? You never do, because insecurity has a strange appetite. It is never satisfied by information. It always wants one more piece of evidence, one more explanation, one more password, one more reassurance, one more promise. And before you know it, you've become someone you don't even recognize. Not because you're weak, not because you're crazy, because fear has quietly taken over the driver's seat. Here's what decades of attachment research teaches us. When our nervous system believes abandonment is possible, it begins searching for danger everywhere. It becomes hypervigilant. Hypervigilance is the brain's attempt to prevent future pain. The problem is this: a hypervigilant brain cannot easily distinguish between possibility and probability. Every delayed text becomes evidence. Every smile becomes flirting. Every business trip becomes suspicious. Every password becomes a secret. Your body reacts long before your mind has actual evidence. That isn't character, that's neurobiology. But here's where many women get stuck: they assume every feeling is a fact. It isn't. Feelings are data, they are not always conclusions. Now, let's talk about the other side, because sometimes he's actually cheating. Sometimes your nervous system isn't overreacting. Sometimes it's recognizing patterns, repeated deception, hidden finances, changing passwords without explanation, emotional withdrawal, secretive communication, gaslighting, inconsistencies that never resolve. Those aren't attachment wounds, those are behavioral data. Ladies, healthy discernment never asks, how do I catch him? It asks, what evidence actually exists? There is a difference between suspicion and investigation. There is a difference between anxiety and observation. There is a difference between fear and wisdom. This is where emotionally healthy women become different. They don't ignore red flags, but they also don't manufacture them. Instead of becoming detectives, they become observers. They stop chasing, they start noticing. They collect patterns instead of moments because patterns tell the truth. Single events usually don't. If there is genuine evidence of infidelity, your assignment is not to become better at surveillance. Your assignment is to become better at decision making. Ask yourself, can this relationship become emotionally safe again? Is he taking responsibility without defensiveness? Has he voluntarily become transparent? Is he rebuilding trust through consistent behavior, not emotional speeches? Has he established boundaries with the person involved? Has there been genuine repentance or simply regret because he got caught? Those questions matter far more than whether his phone is face down on the table, because trust is not rebuilt through access. Trust is rebuilt through consistency. Ladies, the goal is not to become a woman who never notices danger. The goal is to become a woman whose peace is no longer controlled by uncertainty. That is emotional maturity. That is healing. That is freedom. You deserve relationships where trust doesn't require surveillance. And if you've been living in fear for so long that you've forgotten what peace feels like, come chat with us. I know some of you are very iffy and don't want to share on a platform like this, but God told me to create, and so I did. So I hope He allows you to take advantage of this space. You can also book a private session, but either way, how are you dealing with feelings of insecurity? Because healing doesn't begin with watching Him, it begins with understanding you.